Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode right here at Music in the Stars. Today, we're going to discuss Mars moving into the sign of Scorpio. And in the video, I'm going to talk about it through the tarot archetypes. Mars being the Tower card, Scorpio being the Death card. Should be interesting. Let's check it out. So first up, let's look at Mars. Who is Mars? What does Mars represent to each of us? What is the archetype of Mars and how does it play out in our lives? Mars is energy. It's our willpower, our strength, our drive to move forward and push out into the world and assertively express ourselves. Mars is quick to anger. Mars is the warrior. Mars is up for the battle. It rules Aries as well as Scorpio, which is the sign that it just moved into today. So it's very at home in Scorpio, which is interesting because Mars is traditionally known as a very fiery planet, right? Yet here it is in a watery sign, yet very at home in this water. So to me, that says, okay, probably a boiling water. There's an intensity to Mars right now that runs deep on an emotional level, which likely will reflect in our lives over the next 6 weeks. This is where Mars is going to be. Now it's important that we keep in mind that it's gonna hit us all differently. You know, we each have Mars in a specific location within our charts in a specific sign. So anytime that these planets move into a particular sign, it doesn't influence us all the same, yet it will, on an underlying level, hit trigger points. You know, Mars is on the edge, but it is one of the inner planets, so it hits us personally. So let's think about it further. What does Scorpio represent? Scorpio being one of the most intense of all the signs. It's beneath the surface. I like to call it a shamanic sign. Why? Because it cuts deep. Scorpio is unafraid to go into the depths where a lot of people don't want to go. It rules the 8th house, death, life, the depths of sexuality, going into the darkness, but within that darkness, seeds are planted and life is birthed. And because that life is birthed, death then comes to it. So I want to explain these through the archetypes of tarot, because I think that's going to help us. I think that's going to allow us to have a little bit of a deeper look at the meanings of Mars in Scorpio. So Mars in the tarot, the Tower card. It's the symbol and the sign of renewal. The false tower that was built out of misunderstanding, out of misinterpreting life. That false tower is shattered and wiped out, spread out all over the ground. But here's the thing, this is the compost to build the new life, to build the new you out of the truth of what you've learned because of that shattering. When you look at the card, there's a lightning bolt hitting the top of the tower, knocking the crown off the top. The crown is a false sense of will. Now we're getting into the Mars symbolism, right? Willpower. But this is a false sense of will. And so Mars gives you the energy and the strength and the bravery to look at the truth. And through that observation and that realization of the truth, it wipes the slate clean and gives you an opportunity to be reborn, and reborn in the light of who you truly are. Because there's so much illusion, there's so much delusion, and so much falsity out there in the world. The various towers that are built all around us daily. And so Mars gives us a chance to wipe it clean. This is what the tower teaches us, and it's out of love. A lot of people view this card as really abrasive, really hard, and it can be hard. Because sometimes we're attached to our illusions, right? But when we really lean into the truth and we really open our eyes and we see that truth, we can't go back. Going back makes it worse. And you don't want to. You want to live in the absolute highest truth of who you are at all times. That's the goal here. That's the great work. So Mars, that will and that strength, wiping the slate clean through love, through that thunderbolt, through that lightning, that flash of inspiration and truth. So now blend that with Scorpio. Scorpio in the tarot is ruled by death. Again, we have the Tower and Death. I wouldn't say they're popular cards when they come up in tarot readings, but yet super important and very real in the sense of seeing the truth. Again, the Death card is also about wiping the slate clean. It levels the playing field. That's one thing any of us have in common. It doesn't matter if you're the richest man or woman on the planet, born in whatever country, whatever race, whatever creed, whatever language, anything. Death levels the playing field and makes us all equal. Death cleans the slate, regenerates. But what's interesting about the tarot card is this isn't an ending. This is a new beginning. We live life and death all the time. There are all sorts of little lives and little deaths and the cycles and the movements. So Scorpio dips into that. Scorpio, that's why it rules birth and death in that 8th house, because the two are intimately connected, two sides of the same coin. So when we blend the Tower with the Death card, Mars in Scorpio, it's showing me this is a time of regeneration. This is a time of really seeing our truths and really understanding who we are on a core level and being willing to bravely step forth into that and wipe that slate clean. Do a preemptive strike on that. Don't wait for it to bowl you down, but instead be the one that throws that lightning bolt, shatter the tower. Over the next 6 weeks, we have access to that energy. We have access to really go deep into ourselves with our own will, with our own sense of vision and our own sense of force. And while we're in there, clean everything up. Take away anything that does not serve you, that does not fit in with who you are now. Because we're always changing, we're always evolving. And again, that's part of the great work. To evolve, to grow, to be truthful and honest with ourselves. And by doing so, we give others out in the world permission to do the exact same thing. And then we share that light. We share that candle and spread that flame. And then we work together in that way. So again, Mars is now in Scorpio. It'll be there for about the next 6 weeks or so, giving us an opportunity to go deep, see the truth of ourselves, clean up any hidden areas, and then shine that truth and just rock it out there in the world. Be in your highest self. Thank you once again for checking out my channel, for listening to what I have to say. I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe. It helps me a lot to keep getting these messages out there, to keep doing what I do. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I'll do my best to comment back and answer it and keep these conversations happening. And thank you so very much.